Why Twitch is pushing streamers over to Kick.
For me to paint you a turd colored picture of the streaming space right now, because that's what I'm gonna do. Like that's wild. This guy's been CEO for less than a week and already he's destroyed the morale of all the streamers and all the employees. So
I think I've said recently that like I try to be sympathetic towards these employees, but as far as I know, I think the majority of them that are being laid off, I think I read somewhere that these guys were responsible for like most of the moderation and partnerships and stuff like that. Like there's this whole team that was just dedicated towards like whoever was in charge of the creator programs, the affiliates, monetization, just like that whole team. Just in general, I would just call it the moderation team, but that's so far like the rumor of those 400 employees that got laid off. And like I'm saying, it's like I'm trying to be sympathetic towards them because yes, they're humans that just like lost their jobs and stuff like that, but it's like they also caused a lot of like issues for like, you know, streamers themselves as well. That whole team. I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about it.
I can see why people are moving to Kick. And I mean that, by the way. As a big skeptic of Kick, I have a really hard time saying, no, don't go to Kick, stay on Twitch. That's where you're safe. It just sounds ridiculous to say that. The bottom line with Twitch is don't expect things to get any better. The way Twitch is the way Twitch will be unless Dan steps down and someone who knows what they're doing is taking its place. But it looks like it's being more and more assimilated into Amazon. And who knows, maybe they'll sell the tech at some point soon because it looks like they're not really trying anymore. So is that the advice? Go to Kick? Well, let's talk about Kick. Got a lot of people moving over to Kick, got a lot of big streamers moving over to Kick, but it seems like I see two things about Kick on my Twitter timeline. I either see a bunch of small to medium-sized streamers saying, I want that 95-5 split, I'm moving over there now, or I see Aiden Ross either showing porn or talking with Nazis on his live stream, completely unmoderated. I don't know what to think about like the culture and the TOS because it doesn't seem like there is any. It's this weird enigma that
That's the whole that's the big stick I've been talking about. It's like it really is unclear whether there is some sort of moderation over here or they're just not planning to like pursue any like complaints or reports of when some channel breaks the moderation terms or guidelines, I mean. But Train has like always said that like this is going to be the more freer platform, but he's also has explained his issues that he has with certain channels that he has seen, or that when he's reacting to other streamers what they have seen, and it's really unclear. But it from an outside perspective, like he's saying, like Harris is saying, it's like, yeah, it could be that, but let's be honest, like what was Twitch like 3 to 5 years ago? And as for like the whole talking to Nazis part, I'm not sure what he means by that, or I haven't seen Aiden really like speak to anybody, because it seems like, as we know of Aiden, that he's very strongly against those kinds of people because he's very defensive about his religion.
took advantage of this opportunity and hasn't really considered any of the important variables around it. They saw streamers upset with the 50-50 split and they said, screw it, we are a gambling company. That's not how we make our money. Let's give them 95% and do something that Twitch cannot replicate no matter what. No effort done there. Instead, they're using those enticement tactics and then they're feeding into the narrative that people are so upset about, which is Twitch takes half of your money, which they do, by the way. This is a valid tactic, but Twitch takes half of your money. We don't do that. You get scammed at Twitch, don't get scammed over here. And the point that I'm trying to make is they just haven't scammed you yet. Gambling.
I'm gonna heavily disagree here because the whole thing about like Kick being this, like, you're taking a gamble by coming over here, it's like, well, that sort of logic can go both ways. Like, coming over here would, like, we're not really promised anything besides the big enticement of the 95-5 split, but it's like, but to get there, obviously, you've seen like the goals of like getting just streaming 5 hours and reaching 75 followers. It's like that same sort of gamble, if you want to call it, that same risk you're taking is the same gamble you're taking with Twitch. It's really no difference. There's no difference in there because the same way you would want to grow on Twitch is the same way you'd probably want to grow here. Like there's no paywall where I'm like betting like $5 to hope to get this promise that Kick is giving out. It's like we've already seen small streamers that have switched over and shown what 100 subs can do for them. Like now they're able to like pay rent and maybe just work part-time instead of full-time. It's like whether these people that have posted those earnings are either getting paid for it or like they're just fake, like they're not actual earnings. It's like, well, yes, Kick has its problems. It's like, as far as the whole incentive goes, it's like I don't really see where this could be scammy or taking a gamble. It's like you're signing up, it's free. You're making an account and anything. There's no, like, I haven't paid a single dollar to do what I want to do on Kick. And of course, the same way goes for Twitch. It's like there's no paywalls or anything behind there. All I know is that, there has been third parties that like will just try to sell you something like, hey, promote your Twitch stream. Like I think it's like boosts they're called, like Twitch boosters or something, like where like you could get a chance to be on the front page of things. Or I'm not sure if that's necessarily true or I've just heard that rumor somewhere, but like from those two examples, those are the only two sort of things that have to do with money, because again, there's no gamble here besides the obvious elephant in the room where there's gambling category, and if Harris is going to critique that, it's like, well, Twitch still has gambling, they're just not put at the top. They lost their thumbnail category, and there's still a slots category which has like 20,000 viewers and then there's also this virtual casino category that has like 40,000 concurrent viewers. So it's like it's still at the very top. Like collectively it's 6K together, or 60K. Like you said, if those that have bought into this just haven't seen the scam yet, or haven't seen are into this gamble already, like I guess like call me a victim then, because I don't see it. But let's kind of look at the points that he was making.
So is that the advice? Go to Kick? Well, let's talk about Kick. Got a lot of people moving over to Kick. Got a lot of big streamers moving over to Kick, but it seems like I see two things about Kick on my Twitter timeline. I either see a bunch of small to medium-sized streamers saying, I want that 95-5 split, I'm moving over there now, or I see Aiden Ross either showing porn or talking with Nazis on his live stream, completely unmoderated. I don't know what to think about like the culture and the TOS, because it doesn't seem like there is any. It's this weird.
Okay, so first things first about the culture is like I think the culture here is just pretty much I would call it like a Twitch underground. Like on top you have obviously the main club, everybody goes there, and entrance is normal, like you just pay the fee, pay the what's it called, like the bouncer, that's what it's called. The bouncer, the main club, there's Twitch, and the bouncer will let you through. You're in there, any familiar face, this club is popular. But then like there's this option that you see, like there's this underground club where you might see the owners of the club, they're playing pool or cards, poker, whatever. It's like, I think that's what Kick is because it's still the same community, it's still the same Twitch community. Instead of being like these mob bosses or owners, it's more or less just like they're up there in the main club, and the streamers we all know and love are on the underground. So it's like they're still in the same club, just like you're not really seeing them, because over here, there is an Aiden Ross, there is Destiny, there is Canute. There is Rafflegator. I'm just naming off like people that have already like at least multi-streamed here, and it's like those main club members have access to the underground club, and it's like sooner or later people are going to realize that you don't need to be this sort of mobster or mob boss to enter the underground club, and they'll kind of see that it's not so secretive that like anybody can come here. There's no different culture down here. It's pretty much the same, because all it would really consist of is those that have been screwed over by Twitch, or mainly the small to mid streamers would feel that way. But this is where it gets confusing, and people think that there's less moderation because they see all this softcore content or gambling stuff, and they just think it's like the Wild West over here. But in reality, it's like it's not like that at all. It's like, while they are trying to get a grip of the whole moderation, it's like I can almost assure Harris that he'd probably take back these comments once he sees or talks to someone like me or any other channel on here that like understands what they have gone through. But as far as culture, yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Enigma that took advantage of this opportunity and hasn't really considered any of the important variables around it. They saw streamers upset with the 50-50 split and they said, screw it, we are a gambling company. That's not how we make our money. Let's give them 95% and do something that Twitch cannot replicate no matter what. And that's kind of all they have going for them, a 95-5 split. Which, I get it, that's enticing, but
again, like, I think Harris is just wrong here. This isn't the big selling point that Kick has. It's like it's what it's most known for, but it's not. That's not their whole like advertising or like selling point. It's just like hey, over here we got a freer platform. Or subbing has just always been not a way to get rid of ads, but as more of just to support your favorite creator. It's never was really about like the whole ads thing. And I think that's where kind of like Twitch failed, because then that's where they were introducing the whole Prime system, is because like, hey, if you have this, like, use this as a way to support your favorite creator by not having to watch ads on their channel. But there's still the whole subscriber system that they have. So like Prime was just like a substitute for it, but the bottom line is like subs were always just a way to support your creator, not to get rid of ads, because a lot of people don't even know that Twitch Turbo exists, where it gets rid of all ads regardless of what channel you're watching.
I want to talk about that real quick. I said this in the last video. I grew up in Nevada. I'm very familiar with casinos, and that's what Kick at its core is. It's owned by Stake. It is a gambling company. It is not a live streaming platform, and that same advice I talked about Facebook applies here.
Stake is a gambling company or casino, whatever you want to call it, but I still would say Kick isn't.
This company's monetization strategy has nothing to do with the success of their streamers. It's entirely based on how much exposure they can bring to their gambling, how many people they can get addicted to gambling.
As far as funding, like, it seems like the 95.5, it seems like, how are they going to profit off of that? Just 5%? It's like, no, they got other means of funding. They just, like, they haven't really told us yet or explained how they are operational in terms of those. But again, the 95.5 is just basically, if you want to support your streamer, give them 95% of what a sub is, and that other 5% is just to cover the cost of the processing fees of the $5 you're sending them.
So that they can, I'm going to use the word, they can steal from them. That's what gambling is, by the way. Gambling is theft. It's legal theft. They can.
Train would say gambling is more of like money you can afford to lose than thieves, but whatever.
afford to give 95% of their sub revenue to streamers because gambling is so lucrative. I mean, think of all the people we've seen lose millions. We got Slicker that has lost millions of other people's money. We got DNB3 who lost millions of other people's money. We all got super upset about it on Twitter. And then we're jumping straight over to stake. And what concerns me most is that most people aren't seeing the parallels between what Kick is doing and what casinos do, which is throwing out the giant flashy signs, making the place look exciting and fun. All the
Just as for that, like, again, I don't know if like people are necessarily getting paid for, you know, showing off their earnings, but it's just, I think it's more of just like a celebration than like some sort of real, or like fish hook and reel sort of situation.
showgirls and everything, and just like, ooh, this is a place of excitement. And then of course the promises, the showing the jackpot money on the screen. This could be yours. You could become a millionaire tonight. This is how casinos work. It is enticement, it's false promises, and then it's pulling the rug out from under you once you're hooked. And Kick mirrors that a lot. Try to find substance in their platform. You can't, because it's literally a copy and paste from Twitch. Their entire marketing strategy is the 95.5, because if you just spend...
I think this is where Ludwig actually stepped in to correct the message. It's like, sure, the design and layout looks exactly the same, I would agree, but as far as like the back end sort of things, the engineering, the software and web engineering in the background, that's all entirely different. So, but I get it. It's like at face value, it looks the same, but it's not. But I guess any critique of that would be that it looks exactly the same.
And more than 5 seconds looking at the website, you realize they didn't spend any time building it. This whole platform for streamers is just Twitch's platform turned green. It's just concerning to me to watch a company put zero effort into building a culture and a business and a platform to help people grow to help content creators grow their own businesses. There's no effort done there. Instead, they're using those enticement tactics, and then they're feeding into the narrative that people are so upset about, which is Twitch takes half of your money, which they do, by the way. This is a valid tactic, but Twitch takes half of your money. We don't do that. You get scammed at Twitch, don't get scammed over here. And the point that I'm trying to make is they just haven't scammed you yet. Gambling is always fun until it's not. So now what am I saying? Am I saying go back to Twitch? I'm laughing because the answer is not in favor of any of these.
All right, well, we'll just stop it right there.